right. Good morning, everybody. We should have a good one today. Let me fix my camera angle a little bit. All right, that's better. It's better. I dig it. All right. So, lots of stuff going on today. We have the Robinhood earnings this afternoon. That should be a good time. We have, let's see, Bitcoin taking a breather today, down at under just a hair under 72,000. We've got, let's see here, oil up a little bit, dollar down a little bit. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting day. All in all, it looks like the markets are down just a hair this morning. Let me grab my notes real quick here, too. Everybody in chat, hello. Hello. Let me get my restream up and running. So, yeah, it looks like, again, Robinhood today after the bell. I'm probably still going to start at 2:30 to get through some market recap stuff, too, before we get the actual data. Is Bitcoin going to launch after the election? That's my real question. I think we could grind down a little bit or sideways, and then we take off next week. That's my take. We do have buybacks continuing this week that will, again, lead into seasonality that just pushes us higher and higher and higher. And the wife should hopefully be working on the store launch with our first initial product today. And thank you. I don't have his name right here, but thank you very much. I don't remember if it's Matt or Mike. I've still got to look at his Discord setup, but he helped us figure out where there's a loophole where some people were still in the Discord without paying. So we were able to close that up. And he's giving a bunch of input in regard to just how to manage the Discord that I think will be very valuable in the future. So very grateful for that. Without further ado, though, I say we get into some economic data. Consumer confidence for Japan weaker than anticipated for forecasting consensus. Just really horrible. But not the worst. Look at that. Look at how low their confidence was. 21. They just have a whole nother level of despair in Japan when it comes to their economy. GDP growth rates in Germany, horrific, still negative. Outside of the 2008 great financial crisis and March 2020 of the pandemic, this is just like some of the worst stuff we've seen. Again, you had like a little rout in the 2000s, early 2000s, but Germany just does not look good. You can tell that if you look at CPI-related data too, consumer prices, look at the crush that happened. These guys were like, this is just in one area, but they were at 8.5%, and then they slammed all the way down to 1.4. They bounced a little bit off of that, but man, it just does not. It looks like this is just going to keep going down. Now, historically, they've kind of sucked for the last 20 years, but I think it's getting worse. First product today, that's sick. Yep, that's the goal. I think it's pretty cool. She's got a lot of ideas, so I think it'll be awesome. The rest of it kind of looks this way too. So I won't go too much into the rest of Germany. It is an ugly, ugly place. I will show you this. If I just jump over to bookmarks, U.S. economy, I think I got another good one in here. Let's see. Yeah, right here. So my buddy Michael from Germany says a number of state workers in Germany is going up. But with accelerating deindustrialization, unemployment rate is also going up and reached 6%. However, 6% does not include 5.5 million long-term unemployed on welfare payments. True unemployment rate is 18%. Germany is toasted. Just imagine that. Look at how horrific that is, guys. Public administration. This is the stuff we don't want to have happen in this country. We don't want our total population to flatline while the public administration continues to scream higher, while everybody's on welfare. In our automotive industry, one of the leading industries in Germany is being utterly destroyed by China. Okay? We don't want that. We want to do better. We can do better in this country, and we will do better in this country. But you don't want to be like Germany right now, guys. Again, 72,000 on Bitcoin, just kind of hanging out. Let's look over here. Let's go through some more. I don't know if there's anything real signal with government budget value for India, so we'll skip that. 30-year mortgage rate, again, the mortgage rate ticking higher, up 0.21% from the previous read at 6.73%. Now, this looks ugly, but this is the top, so it will start to roll over. I'll show you the 10-year. The 10-year is already looking like it's going to roll over. Mortgage applications, again, they suck, but that's going to get better in the spring, so we really don't care in the meantime. Mortgage market index, Yeah, again, we had really great quarters. My daughter seems to be doing a dance above my head right now. That's super cool. I really appreciate that kid. In this old ass house too, there's not a lot of insulation between them, so I just get to listen to her just like jump around on the floor. Super cool. Not distracting at all. Refinance index, same thing. Again, we had these really great numbers, multi-year, like 2.5 year time frame numbers, and then we just retraced a little bit. This will all get better soon enough. Again, if we just let me jump over real quickly. So let's do a bunch of things. Let's look at how the market's sitting this morning. So let's jump over here. Let's get it to not performance previous day, but pre-market. So you can see Eli Lilly got crushed. AVGO, AMD had bad earnings. They're not an Nvidia. Cat and some of the other producer manufacturing areas, they had bad earnings, so they got crushed a little bit. Chipotle ain't doing great either. I think Nvidia is getting dragged down because of what happened with AMD. But again, I think it's very AMD specific. They just can't compete. They don't have the hardware and software that Nvidia has. I originally got interested in AMD, but all the research I did just shows how far behind they are. They could jockey and change places in the future, but right now they're just not there. Let's look at the dollar. Oh, and we do have more economic data too, guys. It's 7:03 right now. We have another block of data coming out at ADP employment data at 7:15 in 12 minutes. That's the big dog right there. This is payroll from over 10 million people. It's way better than the official government data. This is the real deal right here. So the forecast was for 129,000, and then the consensus was 115. Previous was 143. So this is about as clean of data as you get from the employment side, where the government can't alter it. So we're very interested in that in the next 12 minutes. And then we've got GDP growth rate, price, PCE, sales, PCE prices, real consumer spending, and Treasury refunding announcement at 7:30. And then we have another block of data coming out at 9 with pending home sales. That's probably going to suck. So I don't even care about that data. Probably not a lot to look there. Hello, Jesse. Did you cover anything about Eli Lilly? I covered that they suck. Outside of that, I didn't. I didn't even look at their earnings. But I mean, they're down 10% in pre-market. So not looking good. Michael Krause, I know that guy. Good morning, Jesse, and the whole gang here. What's up, buddy? Love you, man. All right. So yeah, the dollar. Dollar continuing to retrace, finding a little bit of support here. I'm just going to leave it the color it is, though. I think that we are going to continue to break down, and the dollar will weaken. We'll see if that happens. Let's look at gold. Is gold hitting new records? Pretty darn close. Still a little bit off. 44%, 13 years, long amount of time. Oil. Oil's up today. It's just testing here, though, and then it's going to reject, and then it's going to roll over when Trump becomes the president. So not a lot to see there. Move index creeping higher again today. This is the probably last death rattle of the move index for the volatility for bonds. I showed a chart yesterday that showed how bonds were off in one direction and how it had a disparity. I think it was with equities, but the bond volatility will plummet. That's definitely coming. 2-year continues to retrace down to 4.09%. We like to see that. Let's check the 10-year. I think it's headed down that same path, just like we were talking about yesterday. 10-year down 0.56%, getting that firm rejection off that multi-decade, almost centuries time frame that we've been tracking this going back to 19. When did we start tracking the 10-year government bond? Let's see, 1912. 1912. That's a long time. I think we could say that's a long time. All right, let's keep going here. What's the inversion look like? Are we worried about the inversion? Nope, that's boring. What about the Japanese yen carry trade? Is that going to fall apart? Oh, it looks like we're going back down. We like that. Chinese yuan. Looks like that's going down a little bit too. Cool. Ruble. How's the ruble holding up? The ruble's, the U.S. dollar's losing a little bit against that too, but it had a pretty good run yesterday. You can see where we're trying to break out. I don't know what happens after Trump becomes president, because he's probably going to help end the war. That could help their currency, but they need to reopen. There's so many dynamics there. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. All right, so let's keep going. Put call ratio doesn't look bad. All kind of like, nah. Hey, let's go to the watch list real quick. and just look at how things are doing. Let me do this. So we want to get out of current change and do extended hours, and then sort by that. See who's getting hurt. AMD just pummeled, down 8.5% today. Makes you feel better about PayPal and SoFi yesterday, doesn't it? MSTU and MSTX finally getting hit. I just got $10,000 in instant credits from a transfer I did with Robinhood. So time to buy MSTU? I don't know. We'll see. MicroStrategy down 3.6% on the day. I'm liking that. We'll see. Maybe I'll let it fall a little bit more if it can. I think it can. But right now we're sitting at 2.88. That's a little rich for my blood. So again, I'm not going to go there. But we'll let it fall a little bit more, and then maybe we'll pick some of that up with that free $10,000. Bitfarms down, Mara down, Coin down, CleanSpark down. Oh, I can hear people already complaining about the miners today. It's rattling through my brain as they're like, oh my God, my miner didn't do good yesterday, and now it's down today. What's going on? Miners are broken, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be super annoying. Google up 6.6%. That's a good thing. There were actually a number of decent earnings yesterday, and it's good to see Google actually doing all right. The Magnificent Seven can definitely continue to hold up this rally while we get ready for the big mega rally after Trump's inaugurated. Actually, just after we get clarity that he's won the election, which I think we're going to get. You know why I think we're going to get that? I got reasons. One, Biden was up by 7.9 points in October 30th of 2020, right? That's a pretty big number. I got to get my blocker back up here. But right now, Trump is up 0.4, and Atlas Intel is the most accurate pollster around this planet. And they have Trump up by 2 in the popular vote with a 3,000 likely voter sample. So I'm just going to say that's devastating for the Democratic Party. And then you got to remember things like Morning Consult are in here, which are just complete trash. Reuters Ipsos isn't great either. But honestly, Morning Consult and Bloomberg are right at the absolute worst. So if you take that out, Trump's winning by over a point. So it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly for the Democratic Party. They're not doing good. They're not doing good. You know why else they're not doing good in this election and why it's basically over for them? I mean, they're cheating. They like to cheat. That must be a Democrat thing now. That's one of their new values. Import illegal immigrants and cheat and steal. That's what they're doing. Because we can see that right here by this ugly looking bitch. Charlotte's Climbers, Pack All Vote, ran a voter suppression scam targeting voters in the swing states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Arizona. The victims were sent text messages stating that they'd already voted or that they've not registered to vote as a part of personal information phishing scam, previously known as Charles, whatever the fuck it is. It's just horrendous. Brush your fucking teeth. Anyway, but yeah, so we know they're trying to cheat, right? We know that's happening. But if we look over here, Elon Musk said Republican early vote now exceeds Democrats votes in New Jersey. New Jersey. This is about as Democratic leaning as you can get. So not a great sign for Democrats. On top of all the other data we have and anecdotal evidence. Elon Musk said, if you're aware of any election integrity issues, please report them to Election Integrity Community. So this is great. We didn't have this last time, okay? Then we got, May Musk, his mother, said, at early voting in New York City today, no ID was required. They actually won't even look at your ID. So again, import a bunch of illegal immigrants, give them a bunch of free money so that they're loyal to you, and then don't require an ID to vote. This is the game plan, right? And we can see when we look at inadmissible aliens over here, we can see that they were letting in all the bad guys, right? I mean, there's a decent amount of good people that came over the border too, right? But we just don't know who they are because we just let rapists and murderers in too without any vetting at all, right? Not good stuff. We got the persistence saying, I need help identifying this guy who just dropped off an insane amount of ballots, who says he's with the post office, but I don't know if I buy that. He wouldn't talk to us and was acting very suspect. So, I don't know. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of stuff like this that we're going to need to track. But again, and I think this is wonderful, guys. So it's actually, I think we're up to getting close to 67% now. So we're really close to 69.42% in favor of Trump versus Kamala Harris for the betting markets. I think that's very exciting. Can't wait. Can't wait. All right, let's see. We got 3 minutes. His car had plates from another state. That seems a little sus, doesn't it? Is that sus? I feel like it is. All right, so we got 12 minutes, guys. We get more, or I'm sorry, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and we get more data coming in here. Let me just get caught up with chat real quick because I said a lot. Peter says hello. Mike says hello. Lowe's 94 in line to vote early now. Yes, brother. That's the kind of stuff we need. It's Sakip. Thanks for all your work. I will try and work hard for you guys. Jarrett Bell. Morning, Jesse Pham. Victor Hernandez. We have Riot today also, right? Yeah, Riot's doing their thing. I really don't give a shit about Riot. I'll just check it after the fact. I care about Robinhood. That's my big play today. Robinhood, I think I have like $200,000 in calls. So I care about Robinhood. I don't care about the rest. And they're already up 164%. A number I do not hate. Let's just look at that real quick. Isn't that glorious? 164% down there, guys. See that? That's the kind of stuff we like. And here's the thing. This is another one that I held back in 2025. So this right here, I should actually probably sell that soon or execute on it. What the heck? But this right here, I've already made I made like 500-600% off Robinhood. Then I made a couple 100% more. This is my next go around right here. I have made, so I'm shooting for like 1,000 plus off of Robinhood in the last year. That's my baby right there. You can see I lost some money yesterday just from PayPal. And PayPal and Tesla really got smoked pretty good. But whatever, it is what it is. My $25,000 dip buy did all right. I've got more money to dedicate towards that today. If it does decide to go down further, I will pick that up. But again, loving this number on Tesla, up 77% after taking over 600,000 in gains, probably closer to 650 now. So no hate there. Life is good. All right, what else we got? Thanks for all your... we already said that one. Victor Hernandez. Oh, we already said that one. Matthew. I need to highlight these better. UK budget in 30 minutes. Oh, I can only imagine what kind of disaster that's going to look like. UK. The UK. What a shit show that country is. Keir Starmer, the absolute worst of the worst human beings on earth. That little cuck, he's going to get taken out. He's going to get taken out. And but what I mean is he's like the least favorable PM you've ever had in that country, and he will lose his job soon enough. He's not going to be. And I hope you guys just beat him to a pulp. I can't say that, but whatever. I mean metaphorically. Anyway, moving on. Let's keep going here. Disease Kodak, first product today. That's sick. Looking for group. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have it out today. You got a mug and some shirts. I won't give any more details than that, but I think it's pretty cool. There's going to be a bunch of, there's going to be like funny ones too, of course. This one's pretty cool though. Disease Kodak, first product. Oh, no, that was you. Chris DeSantis. Here we go. Mucho. Morning, Jesse. Can you have a look at NDA? Similar to Soul Strategies, but with exposure to SpaceX shares and other altcoins. They claim no debt. I'll probably look at that in a little bit here. I don't know. Yeah, I'll look at it in a little bit here. I don't totally love some of these plays where they're just like, I don't know. I don't love them. Oh, hey, wait. We've got payroll data. Let's get over here real quick. One second. Here we go. Refreshing. Might jump back a second here just to get the whole thing. We'll listen to our boy over here. Nope, no surprises. Stop it, you bastard. All right, here we go.
As well, that number is going to be coming to us in just a moment, like now, maybe.
Yeah, I think we can do it now, Andrew, and I'm going to tell you it's a blowout. ADP October jobs numbers for the private.
International shipping, I think so. And I lowered the prices to as low as they'll go. I was going to make them base cost, but they literally will not do that. So I'll probably make like $3 an item. But last I checked, like shirts are like 15, hoodies are 30. I forget what the mugs were. There were two different sizes. Anyway, but they should be pretty cheap compared to, I think, other people's stores where they're probably making much greater margins.
Sector up 233,000. That's against a forecast of just 100.
Oh, dude, we're running hot. Hot, hot, hot. Hot. This is going to be good.
113,000.
The economy's strong, guys. I don't know how you turn this into bad news right now. How do you turn this into bad news when we've got such a positive ADP employment report? And the best part is it's coming from ADP. It's not the government.
Service, good sector up 22,000. The service sector 211,000. Now there's the non-farm payroll estimate for Friday, which is government and private sector at 100, and I don't know what the street does with that. By the way, the ADP was revised up 16,000 from 143 to 159, so closer.
This is not bearish.
But last month they still were.
This is not bearish.
Underneath, so I don't know if this is potentially catch up. But we have Bill Richardson here. We'll talk to her in just a second. I'll give you a little more of the data here. The jobs were substantially in large businesses. Small was up just 4,000. Medium, that's 50 to 499 workers.
Large companies are doing the best. That makes sense. Until the rates actually do come down, since they've actually ticked higher because of the 10-year and others going up on the long end of the curve, it makes sense that the large companies and the mediums are doing better. Maybe, I had this problem with PayPal, right? I was too early on my call. Maybe Tom Lee was too early on small caps, and I piggybacked off of him, so I'm just going to blame him for that. I'm kidding. I'm accountable for that, obviously. But yeah, so I think it's probably large caps, then it's medium caps, then it's small caps, kind of the natural progression of things. And he was probably just a little bit early, probably a couple quarters. It happens.
And where were the jobs? Where the places where they've been? Education and health services up 53, trade, transport, and utilities up 51, leisure, hospitality up 37, construction doing well, professional business services doing well. The only decline in any sector was manufacturing, down 19,000. And now,
imagine when manufacturing takes off, guys. Imagine that when Trump gets elected. Imagine what happens with manufacturing.
Promised, as advertised, as promoted.
Nope.
You want to talk about?
Well, just before we get to
okay.
A lot of questions for her, but I'd like to see, the futures haven't moved a whole lot. I'd like to see what yields are doing in the Treasury market, because this morning, Steve, you told us that the only thing that's going to put pressure on yields at this point is weaker economic data. This is certainly
it's making
that.
Bitcoin pop a little bit.
425, sure enough, is the 10-year. Earlier this morning, I think we were at 422, 421 when we checked, so a little bit higher.
PayPal's flat on the day. That's good. Tesla's pretty flat, down 0.3.
Which again is
Palantir down.
Taken from millions of actual paychecks, up 4.6%. That is down a tenth from the prior month, and that's job stayers, people staying at their job, and then going over to job changers. That's 6.2%. You would expect that to be higher, but that is also down 0.4% from the prior month. Now, I think we want to. Oh, it's Andrew's job to introduce Neela.
All right, we'll let Andrew do it. Andrew Sorkin, he needs to do something constructive, right? Yeah, Cam said, great news. After elections, we could skyrocket if this continues. We can, right? Because here, you got to remember, guys, we're going to drop oil into the 50s, maybe even 40s after the election. By the end of next year, it could be in the 30s. So just think about what happens to juice the economy when you have manufacturing coming back. You've got full employment in the United States. We're tariffing other countries to lower our tax obligations, especially China, so that we can keep them from flooding our markets and destroying industry. So our economy is just going to be juiced, just like it was in the early 1900s when we were heavy on tariffs. Now, people talk about that time frame and the fact that we were very protectionist, but we were protectionist, and that worked out really well for like 20 years. So I don't know if you could definitely say that protectionism is what caused the Great Depression. I think there were a lot of other factors. I think maybe the fact that somebody could put $10,000 into their investing account and in the 20s and then get $100,000 in buying power off the 10,000, and that was prevalent across the entire market, is probably what caused the Great Depression in my thesis, along with other things, right? But now we have such an interconnected world. It's not even about so much protectionism. It's about fighting off the bad guys, which is the CCP and anybody else who's trying to get off the U.S. dollar. And I think it's just a different world right now. And I think it's a very good setup, guys. Very good setup right now. Let's finish out this payroll talk.
I that.
And again, we have more data coming at 7:30.
You can do it. You're right there.
I almost did it.
You can do it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in Neela Richardson.
There she is.
Chief
It's official. We don't need Andrew Sorkin for anything.
Economist at ADP, the person who puts all this together,
these numbers
the
better
one
than anybody.
responsible for revamping. I will tell you.
How long have you had to know these numbers in your head?
I'm still constantly remembering them, so I'm ready with the numbers. But luckily, I have Steve here.
I want to tell you, though, you probably know this already, your plus or minus absolute difference over the past 3 months is 29,000 with the payroll numbers. I know you don't even like that to happen because you're saying you're not predicting it. You're giving your own different estimate. First question, how do you treat strikers?
So as long as a worker, and by the way, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here in person.
All right, I'm sorry. Somebody said, that's Amit and company voting Trump. Chicken Bro said that. Is he voting Trump? He should vote Trump. I think I've heard him. He's tried to, I don't know. He's a lot more politically correct than me. He actually gives a shit what people think. I don't. So, I mean, I don't in regard to if I oppose them, I don't worry about offending. I'm just going to be truthful. And I think he's more diplomatic. Let's say that. He's more diplomatic. He's a master debater. Anyway, but I'm happy to see him shifting a little bit and throwing a few things out there that are anti-Kamala, and I don't know. I hope he's voting Trump.
As long as the person, the worker, is on payroll, we count them. So whether they got paid or not, they're still counted in our data set.
How does the government count strikers?
They count the number of people who received a paycheck. So if you work an hour or 40 hours, it makes no difference.
So if the strikers did not receive a paycheck, they may not be counted in the government.
That's right.
And you do it because they're still on payroll.
They're still on
they show up
payroll.
in the computer as being an employee of the company.
They're still an employee.
So that could be
whether
a
they get
difference,
paid
plus or
not.
minus 30,000
Right.
between it. How about the hurricane? What did you see in terms of the hurricane?
So we saw a quick effect in terms of the number of people who got paid. So we have two types of data. What we report are people on active payroll.
Thanks
But
for
we still
becoming a
have
member,
paychecks.
Barish.
We still know who got paid during that week.
Right.
And during the reference
We might have to get you to change your name to Bullish, though, if you're going to be a part of the crew. I'm kidding, but seriously.
week, which is when Hurricane Milton touched base, the reference week is the week we count in terms of the jobs numbers. We saw a 7% dip in both North Carolina and Florida of workers who received a paycheck. That next week, the week of October 20th, it rebounded. So yes, there was an effect, but it was short-lived.
But that did not show up in your data because they were still on payroll. However,
Exactly.
they may not show up. So this is fascinating, and let me tell you why. Because the whole game with the Friday number is looking through the distortions to understand the underlying strength.
That's right.
What you're saying is there's a lot of underlying strength if these people were not fired.
That's right.
And that we should really look through a low number because it's strikes and it's hurricanes, and that the number is maybe more in line with what you're saying.
I think so. We expected a cloudy, messy October for a variety of reasons, but two of which you've just outlined. But what the ADP data does is make that clear. We know who's on payroll, right? And it rhymes with other data like the initial jobless claims that also saw a peak up and then a dip down subsequent to the hurricane's landing.
So does the Fed realize that and pay attention to these other numbers instead? And I'll ask that of both of you.
I think the Fed is paying attention to a lot of economic data. You can't be data dependent for 3-4 years and not see the whole scope, both private sector and public sector data. So yes, this is probably an input along with other inputs of how the Fed is making their decisions. And if they look at the grand scope of data, they're seeing a broadly resilient economy, especially in October.
Neela, we have to wrap because we're going to break through.
Yes, it is broadly resilient, but we still need to help the poorest in this country, and we need to help our own federal deficit, and we do that by lowering interest rates. So we do that by restoring confidence in the fact that we can pay back our debts. And let's see if this has moved at all. I don't know if it has. I know it was like at 99% yesterday. It's probably too early for this to move. We'll check back on it later. Let's see what December's at. 76. Yeah, so we'll check later. I don't think we've seen anything move yet.
More numbers, but here's a question. What about the wage data? The wage data seems to be coming down. The Fed
Alexander Doe said, what's your PayPal level that you're looking at before averaging down? I mean, I put $25,000 into PayPal yesterday while it was down 30%. So I guess for the options contract, down 30%, right? That's what I did yesterday. So yeah, I'll say that. And again, it already bounced back. This was down 30% yesterday, and now it's down 18.37, and that might get better today. Still up 86% on the 2026s. Say goodbye to my little friend, the 2025s. They're just toast. Gone.
Fed has said it does not see the job market as a source of
Robinhood could go
inflation.
over 30. Hell
Is
yeah.
that your read from these numbers?
For an inflation watchers, this is the most important point. The economy is having its cake and eating it too.
Yes.
It's creating all of these jobs.
I like her.
While at the same time, wage growth is coming down, and that's good news for inflation.
Yeah, you don't have, you know why? Because we don't have rampant unionization like Joe Biden would love to see. What I don't like is we've got too many government employees that are propping up the economy right now, and we're turning into Germany slowly. So vote Trump so that we can continue to have good times in the years ahead.
So we're really in a sweet spot in October. I don't know how long it lasts, but I'll take it this month.
This number today is going to be a big factor in thinking about understanding the number on Friday.
Sure.
And I know people dismiss the ADP number.
Whatever. Thursday says, morning, Jesse. Do you think it's better to invest in high beta at the bottom, or maybe better just holding BTC the way up and rotate into miners in the last? No, that's the exact opposite. You don't want to. You want to use multipliers earlier, right? Like you wanted to use them a year ago, little over a year ago. You wanted to use the multipliers for upside price action. You want to dial out of multipliers as we go higher. You don't want to increase your downside risk as we go higher. You want to do that earlier in the process. So now I've still got, again, option contracts and things that act as multipliers for Bitcoin. But I'll be exiting out of those more and more as they go up a ton, okay? You don't add a multiplier of downside risk later in a cycle so that you can get screwed and lose all your gains. You do that earlier. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Because it may or may not correlate. It may not be helpful to them in
Dismiss
their
the
models.
government number.
But this is something that you have
gotten
to
better
consider.
since she was here, right? It's gotten better.
All right, this is all bullshit. Let's go over here. So economic data, again, we got some coming out in less than a minute. So we got ADP employment, which looked great. Let's just look at this on the longer chart too, since they never do that for some stupid reason. So you could see that this thing is curving up. We like that. If you just look here in the years before, look at this. Ever since like the end of 2018, these numbers have been pretty miserable. Look at how we're coasting right now. Look at how we've really done since the pandemic. Really since, I mean, look at this. Since, yeah, August of 2020, look at how much higher we've had for a baseline versus like what we were doing before the pandemic. And then even over here, just look at this. We're curving up and it's looking really positive. If this would have continued down, that would have been one thing. But since August, we just look like we're reaccelerating, and that's a beautiful thing. We'll see that with seasonality too. And then we'll see if we can hold on to it after the new year. But I think we can. I'm very excited about it. Let's go back here and we'll look at other data that's coming out right now. It's actually right now, so let's go back over there. Breaking news.
Exciting. Our first look at third quarter GDP, 2.8%. We didn't grab that 3 handle, 2.8%. Many were looking for 3. 2.9-ish was probably the highest estimate in terms of percentages. Rear view mirror is 3%, of course, and the quarter before that was 1.6, so you can see where 2.8 fits in. Let's look at consumption, shall we? We're expecting a number around 3.2%.
Ooh, that's low on
zoom,
GDP
zoom,
growth
zoom,
quarter over quarter.
3.7%. 3.7%. That's the best.
I'm going to hold up on Rick for a second and do my analysis first, since these numbers are pretty fascinating. So GDP growth rate, quarter over quarter, 2.8%. Previous was 3. We were expecting 3 for consensus and 3.3 for forecast. So that's not great. It's lower than expected. We don't love that at all. Price index, though, was low. So that's actually the GDP deflator. The United States increased 2.5% on quarter to a new record high of this. Compared to a 3% rise in this period, the GDP deflator in the United States averaged 52 since 1947 to 2024. Now, what is the GDP deflator? Does it give a good description over here? The GDP deflator measures the change in prices of final goods and services, and it is considered a key indicator for inflationary pressures that provides insight into the future direction of monetary policy. So with this coming in, with the GDP deflator, or GDP price index coming in at 1.8 versus a consensus of 2.7 and 2.5, man, that screams cut rates. So that's a positive. So you got a slower growth rate, that's a negative. But again, that's cut rates, so kind of bad news might be good news. Then prices coming down is good news, good news. And then core PCE prices, let's look here at what we have at this. We were forecast for 2.1 and 2.3. Let me refresh to get that final number in here. And we got 2.2, so that came in line. GDP sales quarter over quarter was 3%. So that is a forecast of 2.2, so that's a positive. PCE prices, and this is advanced, quarter over quarter, 1.5% versus 2.7 and 2% forecast and consensus. Real consumer spending, 3.7. That's a plus versus 3%. So kind of a mixed bag of nuts. I don't know, though. I'm feeling the GDP number could be that big headline, but I like to see inflation coming down across all these others. I think this is probably good. And it looks like some of the big dogs like Google, Meta, Microsoft are doing all right today. Let's see how PayPal, negative 3.5%. Tesla down 0.6%. So it seems like the market's taking this a little negative. They're looking at that GDP headline number more, but maybe they start looking at some of the other data and they get more excited about it. It'll be interesting to see. Let's see what the rest of what Rick has to say.
Best going all the way back to the first quarter of 23 to 23. That should boost yields a little bit. And if we look at the price index, expecting 1.9, rearview mirror 2.5. Good news, 1.8, 1.8.
So the long end of the curve,
1.8's
it's interesting here. So the long end of the curve, the 30 and the 10 guys are looking better, probably because that inflationary data isn't looking so bad. So it's starting to line up with the Fed more. So this is interesting. The long end of the curve is actually starting to come down. We want to see that. That's good. We want to see those yields come down. Tom, thank you for the dollar, euro, whatever that is. Thank you.
Lightest since it was 1.5 the last quarter of 23. So, you know, you have two ways to look at it. Nice progress, but been there, done that at a lower level already. And if we look at core price index quarter over quarter, same scenario. Came in very close to expectations at 2.2, well below 2.8, and 2.2 fits in last quarter of 23 when it was 2.0, 2.0. We see yields now hovering right around 426 and a half-ish.
Come on, man,
and do keep in mind, before ADP, that was at 422. And before ADP, the 2-year, which is now just a whisker below 414, was at 408. So you see these yields moving up and led by the short end, which makes sense because of the implications for the Fed. Of course, the Fed lowered rates because of a weak labor market. We've seen very few signs of that. On the inflation front, regional areas to Germany have seen hotter inflation already released. Top of the hour, we see the actual German number. You want to pay very close attention to some of those across the pond numbers. And finally, we still have many important data points for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, employment cost index, personal income, the PCE numbers. So this is going to be a very, very big week. And it's the quiet period because of the next Fed meeting. Becky, back to you.
Okay, Rick, stay right there before we get all those other numbers. We do have some breaking news from the Treasury Department. Megan Casella joins us right now with
the quarterly refunding.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, Becky, Treasury has just announced its refunding plans for the coming quarter, planning to auction off $125 billion in securities. Now, that matches expectations. It holds exactly in line with the past couple of quarters.
More government money printing. You got to love it.
So no surprises for the Treasury market here. A few more of the numbers for you guys. Treasury says it'll be refunding just over $116.
So again, guys, this is the headline that everybody's talking about, but the data underneath actually looks more positive. So remember that, okay? Sorry for clicking on that.
France is talking about trying to cut spending and less issuance. Don't believe it. Don't believe it's going to happen anywhere. And a lot of the money's already spent that we're issuing the debt for.
Can we talk about this GDP?
Yeah, price is going down, inventory is going down, and sales going up. So we could see something maybe in the future where some margins for certain companies have tightened. So we could definitely see that. But again, all in all, this data, we want to see the inflation come down. And temporary hiccup in 1/4 of GDP data, I don't think is the end of the world at all for our country. So even though that's the headline, I think this other data offsets a lot of that. Again, look at ADP employment data and how good of a number that is. And then think about the seasonality heading into the end of the year. Think about the buybacks. Think about a Trump win. Think about all the things that offset this. This is still a really great setup.
Number because there's a.
You want to ask Dana? Bring Dana.
You want? No, I don't want to do that.
You don't want to bring.
I tried to do that earlier. I don't think I did a good job.
Yeah, the market is kind of just choppy.
I think you're good.
I'll say this: it's not much of anything either way. If you look here, Bitcoin's still at 71.9. That's not much different than it was before. You're seeing PayPal down 0.4. You're seeing Tesla down 0.36. So Tesla's starting to recover a little bit. You're seeing some chop. Palantir's only down 0.29. You're seeing chop, but it's like, I don't know. I think the market's going to look at this and go, game on. That's what I think.
Dana, will there come a time where this isn't so easily digested? Is the 10-year telling us that it's closer than we think or not?
Good morning, Marty.
Well, I mean, when I look at the data today, I mean, we had 2.5%, so 2.8 is not that far off. We just missed on government, which is really outsized. But I think the key thing is that consumers continue.
Government GDP is outsized. Who could have guessed?
To spend. They spent on a lot of goods and also services. They bought cars, they bought furniture, and that's because prices are falling. Residential investment was weak again, but we think that's going to improve as the Fed starts cutting interest rates more. When it comes to
Agreed. I like her. She's smart.
To trade, we knew there'd be some volatility. Exports were very strong, but imports were stronger, certainly because companies were trying to get ahead of the port strikes, which ultimately didn't happen. But all in all, I think this is a strong report.
That might be one of the reasons why we're seeing prices come down too. That needs to be, at least to a small degree, is because of people getting too much inventory and then not ending up needing it. That could be another interesting thing and having to go, do more sale prices. But I like her. I don't know what her name is. We got to figure that out.
And I think the fears about, the U.S. going into a recession, those kinds of fears are very misplaced.
Agreed.
Dana, I just need to do a double check on this data because I don't know if I have it right here. I'm seeing 1.5.
I need another name.
On the headline PCE price index and 2.2 on the core. Is that your read? I think that's
Dana White.
A lot below
1.8,
expectations.
2.2.
Hold on. The personal consumption expenditure price index increased 1.5% compared with 2.5, and ex-food and energy 2.2 compared with 2. Dana, Rick, I don't know what you're looking at, but that's what I saw there.
Yeah, I mean,
1.8 is the number on price index. 2.2 is the core price index.
Okay, but these are well below expectations, and we have the consumer. Yes. Doing 3.7%. We had Neela Richardson here, Dana, and maybe Mike too, talking about being in a sweet spot.
Volkswagen Q3 profits
That seems pretty good a sweet spot to me.
I think we are in a sweet spot. I think Neela would agree with me that the labor market is doing okay. We've had some strong readings on payrolls, big upward revisions. The unemployment rates ticked back down. The only reason
Volkswagen's profits fell 42% in Q3, while vehicle sales fell 8.3% year over year. That is insane. That is insane. That there's no competition for Tesla.
Reason why it rose over the last year, where half of it was people saying, yes, I got laid off. The other half were new entrants and re-entrants. And looking at inflation coming down, yeah, the headline's coming down faster than the core. I'm a little bit worried about the core, but we're getting closer and closer to the Fed's 2%. And that's great. And that suggests the Fed can go ahead, cut interest rates over the next year or so and get us back to some new neutral.
Mike, I know
agree.
There's a Santelli and a Santoli.
She's smart. What's her last name? Dana? If you guys can catch her last name, please.
You got to think hard, but I don't know if you want to talk, Mike Santoli, about refundings. How about, would you prefer Alphabet yesterday, Meta today, AMD? Where you want to go?
I mean, I usually, kind of try to throw it all in a pot and see what it boils down to as the way the market. Right now, it's netting out to a S&P 500 that's kind of flattish and hovering not too far from all-time highs. The move in yields clearly has the attention of all investors, and clearly there's a fear, because we know how much supply is likely to be coming on a consistent basis, to worry that it is going to basically be just too much. Right now, it doesn't seem to me that the clearing price in the way of yields is punitive for the economy, because we just showed you we're growing pretty well through this period. We're at a level of 4.25-ish on the 10-year where we were in late July, and we were breathing a sigh of relief that we were down from 5. Okay, so I don't think the absolute level matters. If you want to tell me that it's all of a sudden going to become a lot tougher to find buyers for this paper as we issue more and the yields are going to go up for non-economic reasons, that's going to be a problem for stocks. But right now, I think we're kind of navigating it okay. I mentioned the S&P at all-time highs. The NASDAQ has been doing more of the lifting in the last couple of weeks, but clearly yields have held I think some of the equity valuations in check. We haven't made any net progress in the S&P in like 2.5 weeks since the 10s went above about 4%. So obviously, there's a whole interplay here that moves over time. I don't think we're at a moment, though, that seems like any kind of a breaking point.
I actually totally agree. I think that this Q3 GDP growth rate data is overblown as a title. And, UK's Labour unveils hotly awaited budget with billions in tax rises. Oh, sorry, I got to check this out. This guy's such a fucking idiot. He's such a moron. These people are the stupidest people in humanity. They're destroying your country. If you live in the UK, these people are destroying your country. They're a bunch of bureaucrats. They're going to just devastate you. They're going to devastate you. I'm sorry to all you guys in the UK. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I think all that data is great, guys. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Let me get caught up with chat here real quick. I don't think there's anything big going on at all whatsoever. Somebody said, Life Experiences said, tomorrow Intel is going to report earnings. What are your thoughts? Do you hold calls? No, I don't hold anything on Intel. I'm very disappointed in the CEO. I don't think he's great at all. Yeah, so I'm not interested. We need an M2MO ETF, Lowe's94 said. I can't actually, I can't become an accredited investor because I'm a high school dropout. I would actually have to do a bunch of work, go back to college or go to college. I only got an associate's degree in network administration and security. So, I didn't, and honestly, I cheated through half of that. So don't tell anybody. But yeah, so I don't have a formal education, and I would have to use somebody else as the vessel to be able to get that ETF approved because I couldn't do it. So, and I'm not going to put in that work. I'm too old for that shit. I'm 47, man. There's no way. So I don't know. Maybe. France wants to raise their taxes too. That's just the stupidest thing you can be doing right now is constricting your economy even more. JT raised taxes super high. What could go wrong? Yeah. When you have pensioners that already can't afford to pay their energy bills, you know what you should do? Tax all the wealthy people in your country so that they leave and those pensioners don't have jobs anymore. Because if you don't have a job, then you don't have to worry about paying the high bills, right? Because you just won't have a place to live, and that should simplify everything. So, very exciting. Very exciting. All right, let's go back over. So, again, the data, guys, I think the data is good. I got no worries about that. Let's check fear and greed and see how we're doing today. Thank you to the 400-ish something people that are here. If you could hit the like button, it's greatly appreciated. If not, whatever. Fuck you. Anyway, I'm kidding. Kinda. Hey, look at this. This is interesting. So we're at 58. We're barely in the greed territory. I'm still sitting at about $3.5 million in my investment accounts, and we're barely in the greed. So I'm near my all-time high. My previous all-time high was 3.6 million. I crossed that the day before yesterday at 3.7. Got a little retracement yesterday, sitting on 3.5, and we're almost in neutral territory. I love that positioning so much. I don't hate that. I'm not upset about that. Now, crypto on the other end, it's getting a little greedy. It's getting a little greedy, but it can go more greedy. You know why? Because we have this historical chart that shows that this number, let me just see if I can drag this down. I love the Speechify thing. I hate the little bars sometimes. I wish I could like shrink it. I got to see it. There's got to be something I can do. But if you look over here, guys, look at this. We were like at almost at 100, like in the 90s for like, what is this? Like literally, if you go back here, like the level we're at right now, we were in that in like October 2020. We virtually stayed in this range outside of one blip till January 2021. So again, like 3-4 months, had one blip down, stayed up here again, still grinded for a while. So you could see in a bull market how we can just spend tons of time up here, and how this little amount of time we've been here since like early October is really nothing. So we can go a lot higher in the crypto side of things. I hope you realize that. All right, let's go over here real quick. Let's see how things are going again. And it's 7:47, so we've still got about 50 minutes until the market open. I'm sorry, about 42 or something. So we got a little bit of time. If we look here, again, Google's still doing all right. DLO up on the day. Meta, Microsoft, ETH, TMF. So the 20-year bond is actually getting a little reprieve today. That's the 3x version of it, but, getting a little reprieve. Uranium going up, Biddy going up. SoFi up 0.38%. Congratulations to all SoFi holders. You're getting a little bit of a reprieve today. Hoping to see some of that in PayPal. Down 0.34%. Palantir down. That's pretty normal. They're going to sideways chop for a while. Hood down, but honestly, I don't think that's going to last long. If nothing else, after hours is going to take care of that. Tesla down 0.4%. This isn't looking like a bad day. Again, gains in China from Baba completely wiped out. Anybody buying CCP stocks is just stupid, dumb as a box of rocks. AMD, rough. Look at this, MSTU down 7.25. I'm hoping MicroStrategy really gets crushed today. I would love to see that get crushed, because that way I can take that extra 10K I made in Robinhood, instant credit, and I can put that into something like MSTU. To make gains, right? We like that. We like making gains. So I hope they get crushed. I hope they get crushed a lot. That's my big hope today. Let me clean up some of this. Let's look over at the heat map too. Eli Lilly continuing to get punished, down 11% on the day. Again, Amazon, Verizon, MasterCard, a couple of the energy sector stocks. And then again, Google. Look at Google up 6.8%. Microsoft up 2%. Meta up 2%. Getting a reprieve and starting to outperform. Again, electronic technology not having such a good day today. But outside of that, this all looks good to me. It looks really good. Let's see. I'm going to refresh this just to make sure that we have the latest of the lives. And then we might jump into, while we're kind of in a holding pattern here, let's see. Silicon Valley split politics. I don't care. I don't care what their take is on any of that stuff. We are going to jump over. We'll look at U.S. economic in here. We'll also jump into the Bitcoin section, the Tesla section, all of these things, and talk about them. So Liz Ann Saunders, I love her. She said, I said to her post, I said, we're finally seeing prices for housing come down in the spring around the March timeframe. Now, I'm saying this while housing prices are up again, right? But there's a seasonality component. You can barely see it in this chart. But if you look over here, you'll see where prices came down in like March. Because spring, you have a bunch of inventory go online. Prices came down in like March, April, May. Because of spring, you had a bunch of inventory go online. Then you had this happen in a stronger way because of just insane prices in 2020 to 2021 to part of 2022. These increases are just sick. For monthly data points, these are just retarded. Housing prices going up 2.3% in a month is just stupid. So you had this longer route here. And then by the time spring came around, you started to see prices going up because there was no excess inventory because rates are so high. And then we've had rates bounce back up. We got close to the 5s, and then it just got obliterated because of the 10-year going higher. But we see the 10-year, I think, now starting to retrace. And we'll just take a look at it real quick here. But I think we see the 10-year starting to retrace. Let's go. I'll actually just do it from here. Go back to my 10-year. Let's see if it continued with what happened today. It actually flattened out, so it got a little bit of a reprieve. So the 10-year is yielding up a little bit, but I don't think, again, it's not going to get past this wall. I just don't see it at all. I don't see it. So we'll make the assumption that come spring, with rates coming down, which they will, You'll still see the Fed bring it down another 25 bips in December. You'll see, or in November. You'll see that in December too, and then we'll see about January. Maybe that's a pause. But with rates coming down, you will see the longer end of the curve, especially with Trump getting elected and people starting to trust the fact that the government might not implode in the next 4 years. You'll see the rates come down and you'll see housing open up. And that's what I was talking about. And I do think we should do this too. And I don't remember if this is a part of Trump's agenda or not. Let me know, guys, if you've heard anything about it. But I do think that Berkshire Hathaway, BlackRock, and Blackstone need to stop buying all of our homes. We need to pass laws that make it to where, sure, you can build out apartment complexes, but you can't buy our houses, and force them to liquidate their homes. Force them to open up inventory. They can take a hit on their balance sheet. Fuck them. But they need to get out of buying up all the property so that they own all of America. Just like Bill Gates buying all of our farmland, he should be forced to divest that too. You could do those two things. You could force Berkshire, BlackRock, Blackstone, and other major megacorps to have to divest from all the homes they're buying, including ones around me. And you could force Bill Gates to start to where you can't own a certain percentage of of farmland in the United States of America. I think you could figure out the right number. Just whatever number punishes the shit out of Bill Gates but doesn't hurt the farming industry. And then I think you would have a great resurgence in this country when combined with everything else we're talking about doing. So that's my take. Manny247, Jesse, for some reason your video is not loading on YouTube. Others are. Thanks, X. My video is not loading on YouTube. I don't know what you mean by loading on YouTube. There's people on here that are on YouTube. So I don't know what you mean. But it is there. All right, let's keep going. So interesting data points and just my thoughts, right? Bob Elliott says, while the economy already in pretty strong shape and running near capacity, there are really few places for all of this liquidity to go into the real economy. And it says real gross domestic product, real potential gross domestic product. And so you can see how it's just accelerating. It's at levels that we haven't seen since 2000 when we're looking at this number. And I made a comment to him. I said something along the lines of, I think I put it in here. Yeah, okay. Nobody liked my comment. That's disappointing. I said gold is overflowing with excess funds because of countries like China, India, and the rest of BRICS. I guess it's time for Bitcoin and crypto to have their turn. If you guys could like that, that'd be sweet. Also, if you guys could like my post for this feed on X, that is always appreciated too. Just gets people in here. I love it when people are in here. I'm going to actually repost it again. I'm going to tell people to like it like I always do. Shouldn't have to, but I do. Please respond for the 2x bonus in the above post. Thank you. All right. So if you guys could check out that post, that'd be sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. My buddy Caleb said if anyone thinks this is a stock market bubble, they're unqualified. Only 8% of technology stocks are up 100% year over year. So again, we've seen the big guys go up, right? But when we look at percent of tech companies with 100% returns, we do not see them. Okay? We do not see them. So this is just another indication of, let's look at previous bubbles, right? Like, let's look at what happened after the pandemic when tech companies just went through the roof. That was bubblicious. Let's look at the 2008 range. Well, actually, is this really fair? Is this helpful? I don't know if this is helpful. Now that I look at this point, I don't know if this is helpful. Because look at 2008. Would you have found out about the bubble in 2008? No. Would you have found out about it in the dot-com bubble? Yes. Because tech was just incredibly bloated, right? So there's some signal here. Some signal. If tech is really... So this isn't like, I disagree with this comment. If anyone thinks this is a stock market bubble. If anyone thinks this is a stock market bubble caused by technology, would be a better post, actually. And then again, we showed this earlier about Germany, so we'll skip that one. I said, note what comes next. So far, the market is pretty much tracking historical norms for presidential election years and seasonal tendencies. And again, you can see it goes up. Seasonality again. We covered all this stuff. We're good on that. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. See what else we got over here. Still got about 33 minutes until we see the bell. Could this chart foretell? Yeah, Tech bubble, yes, exactly, Walter. So if we look at the cup and handle on Bitcoin, this actually doesn't do it justice because it doesn't show the measured move for what the cup and handle would be, which is a lot higher than it is. Okay. Oh, I guess they kind of do over here. But again, they show a really short line. They're not showing the measured move. They should have drawn this a lot higher because you do it from the trough to the neckline, which if you draw a line across here, that's the neckline. This is one of the most beautiful cup and handle patterns I've ever seen. But what it says is we should see a comparable increase to what we've already seen for this cycle from the bottom to where we are right now. So not well drawn. Bitcoin Archive maybe isn't a good technician, and I don't know who this, it comes from them. But they're right in the thesis that this is a cup and handle pattern. Brian Armstrong said the next SEC chair should withdraw all frivolous cases and issue an apology to the American people. It would not undo the damage done to the country, but it would start the process of restoring trust in the SEC as an institution. I agree with that. Thomas Lee said Bitcoin remains secure. We have Bloomberg Markets saying U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that fraud in the banking system is becoming a huge problem, not in Bitcoin. Dennis Porter said breaking Florida Treasurer Jim Patronis, makes history with letter endorsing a strategic Bitcoin reserve, pushes state pensions to add Bitcoin. This is a massive move for Bitcoin in the USA. The Satoshi Act Fund are proud to have worked in Arizona, as cited in the letter. Eric Voorhees says when demand for gold prices or gold rises, more gold is produced. When demand for oil rises, more oil is produced. When demand for U.S. dollars rises, more U.S. dollars are produced. When demand for Bitcoin rises, the price goes up. All right. Micro to Macro said, you have to be insane to short Bitcoin right now. Somebody is talking about this dude who is shorting Bitcoin. I don't know who this guy is, but say goodbye to him. Hopefully he makes it. The Bitcoin office, the Bukele model spreads to Florida. Again, they're just talking about what had happened here. Different take on it just a little bit. It says, Florida State CFO endorses strategic Bitcoin reserve and pushes pension funds for firefighters, teachers, and police officers to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is often called digital gold, and it could help diversify the state's portfolio and provide a secure hedge against the volatility of the major asset classes. I agree. Manny247, thank you for the 20 memberships gifted. Guys, if you got a membership, thank Manny for that. Very much appreciate you, sir. Always contributing. Livongo, next to SpaceX Texas, supplier of LNG gas and fuel there in Texas. Next. Oh, that's the company? Next is the company? I'm not quite sure what you were saying there. Again, Marty Party was talking about this, but DEX volume, Solana DEX volume hits a new record of 168% of Ethereum layer 1 DEX volume. This is just, Solana is crushing Ethereum. And again, I talked about this before, but the arbitrage play between Bitcoin and Tesla is going to be huge in the decades ahead. Right now, Bitcoin has the strategic advantage of launching sooner, back after the 2008 great financial crisis. Because of the design of Bitcoin, the percentage returns in the early years were just astronomical. You don't have that advantage for Tesla, but I will argue that Tesla will build and build and build as Bitcoin lowers and lowers and lowers because of economies of scale and the way the system is designed. So I do believe in the future that we'll see SMCI fell off a cliff. Ooh, that's fascinating. What kind of news do we have on that? You guys got news? Post an article if you're on X, guys. Tell me what's going on with SMCI. Is that today? 22% would be a bad number for today. Very fascinated. MicroStrategy are now at 8.19 billion up on their Bitcoin position. Up. That's crazy. I mean, they're probably going to be down on that in a little bit when they dump, but that's amazing. But yeah, so I think what you'll see with Tesla is you'll see this grow and you'll see this start to come down. Well, you won't see it come down, but you'll see this slow down and you'll see this one grow. And so you'll start to see Tesla competing against Bitcoin. And why? Because Elon Musk, guys, we need to talk about that. We can go back to this stuff later. We need to get back to Elon because this is the theme of the day that we're going to be talking about here. It's incredibly important. It's right here. It's right here. And how long is this video? It's 2 minutes and 56 seconds. We'll listen to it. This is so important for you to understand. Elon Musk said that there will be 10 billion autonomous robots running around, or I should say humanoid autonomous robots running around by 2040 with a price point of 20 to 25K. So I want you to wrap your head around that. In 15 years, we will see 10 billion humanoid robots walking around. The world will be transformed in ways that you can't even imagine. That's what's ahead of us, guys. The most transformational time in human history, outside of maybe us figuring out fire. So it's going to be a big deal. I hope you understand that. All right, let's listen to this real quick, but I'm going to just check comments. Ben Guy, good morning. Johnny, I used to know a guy named Ben Gay. He got a lot of shit. We always, every time somebody said his name, we said how long. Johnny, Utah, next is more of an arbitrage play on low cost of LNG in the United States and exporting to countries like Japan that have high LNG rates. Well, I mean, Europe too. But that could change, though, once the war in Ukraine comes to an end, once Trump gets elected. So that could get weird because a lot of LNG being produced is getting sold to Europe right now, too, right? They built out that huge capacity. And will they start to, I don't know. I don't think they'll be quick to jump into a dependency on Russia. I got to say that. So I don't know. That's interesting. Oh, hey, breaking news on the SMCI. It looks like I found it. Let me see what it says here, guys. Breaking news, Ernst & Young resigns as auditor of Supermicro. We're resigning due to information that has been recently come to our attention, which has led us to no longer be able to rely on management's audits and representations. Ouch. Ouch. See, guys, not every chip company is Nvidia. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. I'm just going to plop that one out there. Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Okay, gotta love that. All right, let's listen to this real quickly from Elon Musk, though.
I think by if you say like 2040, probably there are more humanoid robots than there are people.
So anywhere of 10 billion. Yeah.
Yes.
And your price point on these humanoid robots? You're pretty good on pricing. Sometimes you're off on timing.
Yeah, I'm often optimistic on timing, but although, the press will report when I'm late, but not when I'm early. For example, our Shanghai factory, we thought it would take about 1.5 years, and we did it in 11 months. Our Nevada factory, we thought 2 years, we did it in 18 months.
Or the Colossus cluster.
Texas factory, 2 years, we did it in 14 months. So I've been early actually many times. It's just not reported.
Elon's getting really tired of people saying he's late. He's getting really tired of it.
So when I make a prediction, I try to figure out. I try to say what is the 50th percentile likely, which means that half the time I should be wrong. So I'm not sandbagging essentially. But I think it's once you get out 2040, that's a long time from now. Going 25 years, there'll be at least 10 billion humanoid robots.
And price point?
Yeah, the price point will be, I think, quite low. Probably.
They will have reoccurring service fees, though. Think about it, guys. Every time you want to teach it something new, you'll be able to pay to get that new feature available on it. There'll probably be some kind of monthly subscription service to make sure that you're getting all the updates. There's going to be a lot of ways for them to be able to capitalize and make wicked margins off of existing robots.
$25,000 for a robot that can do anything. We will be in a future, assuming we are on the good path of AI, I think we will be in a future of abundance. Obviously you wrote a book called Abundance. So I think you would agree that is probably the outcome.
Great book, by the way. I think this Peter Diamandis or something.
Anyone will be able to have any goods and services they want. The actual marginal cost of goods and services will be extremely low in the future.
And the reason for this isn't just robotics. It's not dropping the cost of transportation down to nothing. It's not all of that. It's also the fact that energy will be almost nothing. And I will be hosting. I won't be watching YouTube or Robinhood earnings. I'll be hosting a Robinhood earnings session. So definitely check that out later. To the person who was asking about that. But yeah, so again, Elon is just a brilliant man. I don't think people realize everything that's coming.
I kind of agree with ARK Invest and Kathy Wood that autonomy, like the sort of robotic taxis, makes Tesla kind of like about a $5 trillion company. The Optimus robot, I think, makes Tesla a $25 trillion company.
25 trillion. Wrap your head around that. Do you see why I like the Tesla Bitcoin arbitrage play? Do you see that?
It's not even clear what money means in the future.
Money becomes a very confused topic. I think it'll still exist, and we'll still have the government probably printing tons of it, probably at an accelerating rate. But eventually, it will just kind of go away. It'll probably go away eventually. I don't even know. I don't know. It's so hard to understand. I have to fast forward 10 years to have a better gauge in what happens with all that, because he's right. The concept of money becomes very confusing when you literally can buy almost anything. If the concept of homelessness, people that can't eat, it won't exist in humanity. It won't exist. So it's hard to grasp what all that means. It really is. I love this man, though. He's changing the world in amazing ways.
We end up in a post-capitalist society at some point. Elon, you make
we do sort of end up. It does become kind of post-capitalist.
It is.
And like I said, and I know you agree with this, that we're and looking at the most likely bright side. We're headed for an age of abundance where anyone can have any goods and services they want. It won't be a case of universal basic income. It'll be a case of universal high income is the most likely outcome.
Yeah. I disagree with that. I just don't see how you don't have a universal basic income, because I don't see how everybody has a job when you can replace them with robots. I don't know. But I do agree that it'll be high. It just won't matter. Like, people won't matter. The universal basic income will probably all be government printing money. I don't even think taxation will be a thing anymore. I think we're moving to a time frame where income taxes, real estate taxes, all these taxes just go away. They're going to go away completely. The concept of tax will go away completely. The only thing that will happen is governments will inflate the money supply when they need to spend. And that won't even matter. It won't even matter because everybody will be so rich. And they can deflate the money supply to give universal basic income. That's my thought. I think I don't like the wording that Elon used there, and I very rarely don't like the wording of anything that he says. So again, Volkswagen, profits fell 42% in Q3. Vehicle sales fell 8.3% year over year. These guys are going to be shutting down 3 factories. They're dying. Germany is dying. Volkswagen is dying. Not a good look. Stephen Mark Ryan, possibly somebody who is even more direct than me. I mean, he is. He talks of why he says you'll know why he's all in on Trump, or why Elon Musk is all in on Trump. This is a good video, real quick. I'm going to use the potty real fast, and I'm going to play this out for you guys. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay.
I mean, if we look at our evolutionary history, if you piss off the tribe and you're ostracized, you need people to help with clothing, food, shelter, etc. back in our evolutionary past. So most people are wired to not get ostracized, to not divide, to not become an outcast. This is just how human beings are wired. And I don't think this is helpful. It is helpful for seamless, la-di-da, everyone's friends, kumbaya. But sometimes it needs to be said or done that's not easy to hear or do and is controversial, is divisive. And I think that most people are too scared to be disapproved of by the crowd and the group, that it stops them standing up sometimes when something's important. And Elon just isn't concerned about that same being ostracized. Like, see, here's a question you always have to ask. If Elon's done something that confuses you, you have to ask the question, why did he do this? Why would he sign up to work 80 to 120 hours a week for most of his adult life and suffer an enormous amount of pain, terrible personal relationships, poor health, etc.? Why would he sign up to suffer so much? Because what he's doing matters more than the amount of pain he's going to endure. Some people don't seem to ask this very basic question. You always go back. Why is Elon doing this? He's not doing it to piss you off. He's not doing it to divide people. He's doing it because it matters to him. Every action he takes that causes pain, hate, etc. in his direction is a direct result of him thinking, is this important? Okay, it's important. I'm going to do it anyway. And so I don't think most people think like that. Most people think, am I going to get ostracized? Is it going to piss people off? Am I going to lose friends? Is somebody going to hate me because of this? I better not do it because I can't get kicked out of the tribe. And I think this is one of the core differences between Elon and most people. He's not at all concerned about the approval of others, at all. Not at all. Second, he's conscious of...
I would argue I'm not either, and I'm pretty sure Stephen Mark Ryan isn't. He's one of my favorite Aussies.
Of the amount of divisiveness and the repercussions of most of his actions. I think most people don't realize this. They think Elon's so dumb that when he says something like, prosecute my pronouns or prosecute Fauci, people are like, he's so dumb, he doesn't realize it's going to piss people off a lot. He knows it's going to piss people off, but he's willing to move forward anyway. I think this is one of the fundamental misunderstandings in terms of people not understanding where...
See, I actually, BGZ says, I love SMR, Stephen Mark Ryan, this guy. My only critique is that he's a Tesla permeable. I love that about him. That's actually why I like him the most. I think that Tesla permeables, I'm a Tesla permeable, man. I might tell you when I think the stock's going to go down because I know that stuff better than Stephen Mark Ryan does, right? But I'm 100% a Tesla permeable. That's the only speed I know. So if you ever question whether or not I'm biased about Tesla, I'm 100% biased about Tesla. I'm 100% biased about Elon Musk. I'm 100% biased about Bitcoin. And there's other things that I have high levels of conviction on too, but these are probably some of the highest. So I love that biasness. I think it allows you to weather the storm, which is one of the most important things in investing. It's just whether or not you're able to listen to actual critique and be like, oh, they might have a little bit of a point there. But again, we need these permeables. These are what keep people from selling their Tesla stock.
Elon's coming from and why he does what he does. The guy is a sucker for punishment. And it's because he's always thinking about making the future better and not how can I be approved of.
Kangaroo said, I love Elon, but everyone I know hates him. It sounds like you hang out with some stupid fucking people. But I hear you. I know a few people like that too, that are more about politics than rationality, and they love listening to mainstream media and their toxic bullshit.
For my fellow humans, I better not share this opinion. It might offend people. Most people think like that, not Elon.
I know it's shocking to find out that I'm biased. I get it. I get it. Holmar's catalog, FSD miles per day increased by 30% in Q3 versus Q2. There might be some signal there when you have 30% growth quarter over quarter. Elon and Optimus during the F2 2024 interview, there will be at least 10 billion humanoid robots by 2040. That's cool. Optimus will make Tesla a $25 trillion company. Did we just see this? Or is this a different video? Yeah, dude, we saw this. What the heck? And that's Peter Diamandis or something? I don't know. He's great. Son of the Walkie said, breaking, Elon Musk retweets post saying Tesla robotaxi's $11 trillion revenue potential. I agree. Elon Musk says, super important. It says, Mario Naffel says, get your friends on X to cut through the mainstream media bias. Sending X links to friends and relatives overseas is crucial in helping them understand what's really going on. I agree with that. Do that. Amit said, breaking, Elon Musk is in talks with investors to raise funding at a $40 billion valuation for XAI, says Wall Street Journal. Previous funding round was $6 billion at a $24 billion valuation. Looks like XAI is growing, but they need more money. GPUs get expensive. All of it is going to Nvidia. I agree with that. Evan said, Elon Musk just said he thinks there'll be 10 billion humanoid robots in 20. You can see how this headline is taken off. There's going to be a lot of people that start to pay attention to this. I said, oh, and this one from yesterday, this guy says that Waymo is leading autonomous driving, not Tesla. I said boomer mentality and understanding level, do not watch. So we will not watch. Elon Musk said soon to become 200,000 H100 and H200 Nvidia cards training cluster in a single building. 200,000. And again, we talked about this yesterday, but Sawyer Merritt said, Elon Musk, XAI plans to bring online an additional 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs at Memphis, Tennessee training cluster within the next 2 months for a total of 200,000 NVIDIA GPUs, doubling the size of what was already the world's largest and most powerful supercomputer. Doubling the size of what was and is already the largest supercomputer cluster on the fucking planet. Does that not seem interesting? Is there signal here? Yes, there is a lot of signal here. A whole ton. Homar's catalog said Trump will adopt Tesla favorable policies since all Teslas sold in America are made in America. So again, everybody's worried about the tax credit, but it's like, guys, literally, he's going to be incentivizing people to buy more Teslas, especially if he's tariffing the shit out of automakers or other companies that are building things overseas. It's going to be a similar policy. It's going to be different, but similar to Biden's. It's just going to be make everything in America. All right, that's it for Tesla. I think we're good on that front. What do we got for opening bell? We got 13 minutes on the opening bell. What do we have for more data points? We just have pending home sales. Nobody cares about that. Nothing really interesting there. We got Germany's inflation rate. It came in at 2%. It was expected at 1.8, so slightly higher than expected. Harmonized inflation rate. I didn't know we put harmony in inflation rates. We'll look at that. Okay. It's like whatever we have to do. But again, if you're looking over here, guys, I don't know. This isn't crazy compared to what they've had historically, and I think this is just a bounce. They never even had a bounce. I think this is just a bounce, but it's over. I mean, here's the worst thing for Germany. They've got massive unemployment. Again, the real unemployment rate is probably like 18.5% from all the people on welfare and all this garbage. And plus you have massive government employees. So you've got this bureaucracy of garbage, and then you're going to have taxes going up because all of Europe is going to have to see that. And then you could have prices being high. I doubt it. I think you're going to get a lot of exporting of deflation from China. But if they had issues with their prices, combined with high taxation, combined with a slowing economy, boy, and just high unemployment, that is a recipe for disaster, let me tell you. But yeah, so all we have really is 9 o'clock. We got pending home sales. Not much there. We'll probably jump into other stuff here in a second. If you guys have tickers you want me to look at, let's look at them. Again, SMCI looks like it's going to get destroyed. I would not buy that dip. Tomorrow we have challenger job cuts. We got core PCE price. We got personal income and spending. We got employment costs, both benefits and wages. We got employment cost index. We got the initial jobless claims. We got PCE price index. We got continuing jobless claims. We got Chicago PMI, and we got the Fed balance sheet at 3:30 p.m. And we got the 15 and 30-year mortgage rates, which, again, are predictably going to go to, I mean, this will probably go to 6.7 something. But that's a lot of data for tomorrow, and then Friday will be a ton, too. So we got lots of big stuff coming, guys. Lots of really interesting metrics coming in front of us. Yeah, that Ernst & Young. Here, you know what? We can talk about that real quick, too. So SMCI is screwed. Why are they screwed? Because of this right here. This is very, very bad. Very, very bad. Ernst & Young resigns as auditor of Supermicro. Hey, you know what? I don't want to read this. Let's just do this. Let's do this.
Ernst & Young statement. We are resigning due to information that has recently come to our attention, which has led us to no longer be able to rely on management's and the audit committee's representations, and to be unwilling to be associated with the financial statements prepared by management. And after concluding, we can no longer provide the audit services in accordance with applicable law or professional obligations.
That is bad. That is bad. If you own this stock, GTFO. That is bad. Isn't this the same one that the government was going after? Isn't this the same one that the government was going after? Do you guys remember? You should not own this stock. That is not financial advice. That's just common fucking sense. You should not own this stock. It looks like we've got Google doing better, so that's going up. The rest of the market, maybe not so much. That SMCI might be hurting things too. How's the chip market doing? Let's just refresh here. That's got to be getting brutalized. It's got to be getting brutalized. You got AMD, you got Nvidia down almost 2%. So Nvidia's taking a hit from all this too. You got Intel down by 2%. You got a lot. The chip sector is getting crushed by this SMCI news too. Hindenburg put out a short report a couple of months ago about SMCI. See, guys, people just automatically dismiss these Hindenburg reports. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Some of them are right. So let's just look. How's the rest of the market doing? CleanSpark down 2.43, Tesla down 0.81, SoFi down 0.57, PayPal down 0.82, Palantir down 0.93. So the market's kind of, I think that SMCI news just, it took what was like, hey, the market might do okay today, and gave it a little smack in the face. AMD earnings, I don't even care about AMD. I don't think the stock looks like it's going to find support, but man, I don't know that I'd invest in it. I think it's all about Nvidia right now. I think being in second best is not even a play. It might be in the future, but again, we're down here, guys. We're at support, but could it break underneath of it? I mean, it could. It might bounce here, and that would be good for AMD, but I don't know. I just don't know that this is a great investment. We're still how far? So the high was March of 2024 up at the 228 level, and we're at 153 right now. This obviously is not as resilient as we're seeing with Nvidia. SMCI a few weeks ago, I read family member owns one of the main SMCI vendor that provides goods at an unreasonably low price, pumping profits on SMCI side. Therefore, SMCI are accused of book manipulation. Okay. Daisy says Starlink uses AMD and Nvidia cannot keep up with demand. Some companies have to share profit. They could. So they could. And again, I don't think AMD is a horrible company. I just think that they're not nearly to the scale of what we're seeing right now with Nvidia. And it's Nvidia's game right now. Now, this would be a bounce zone. It should be, right? Because again, we've got this trend line, and we found support on it. I mean, really going all the way back to what time frame is this? I can't even tell. It's a while ago. So we've been grinding on support here for, I mean, a month or something. So we could find it here again. Yeah, not breaking, Darren. We already posted it. We just talked about it. Boop, 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 boop. They're screwed. SMCI is screwed. I would not own SMCI. How bad is that doing? Let's just pull that up. SMCI. Might be a boring day for me up until the Hood earnings. I expect to do really well with Hood earnings. So there's a massive amount of support here for SMCI, but it is down 33%, and I would not buy this. I would not buy this. This thing could be down at 26. It could get down to 24. I mean, 24, maybe it's an interesting buy. That's the measured move, kind of. If you look down at the breakdown zone over here, guys, we just do this, right? And then we turn this to a red color. But we can draw this down to kind of where this thing impulsed down and fell. And then what you do is you take this bear flag. Oh, yeah, that's probably the level. You take this bear flag that formed here, where it couldn't quite get it up, and then you draw it down. And so that the support level is kind of peak volume. Anywhere from 26 to 24 is going to be support. That might be a better number, but then you have this ugly looking Head and Shoulders fiasco looking thing. I mean, we already started shooting past the Head and Shoulders, so maybe that doesn't count. But the Head and Shoulders on this, so you got a shoulder, you got the head, you got the shoulder, right? So this, what is the measured move on this? Let's just look at this. So this breakdown move, guys, gets us to scary numbers. Yeah, real scary numbers here. This gets us down to like $8. And how much of this gain? When is this? Oh, this is just in March. Yeah, dude, this thing could go into single digits. I wouldn't touch it. All right, let's start looking at stocks. Yeah, that's super bad. Let me go up here. I just want to get back to where you guys threw some out here. Yeah, Richie Ray says, if one robot makes one and two make two, etc., this only has to happen 19 times to make $1 million. That's insane, right? So yeah, the robots will literally take over. Double H, and I think human will also create more leisure-related businesses and opportunities, anything that's for the rich and will be ordinary. I do agree with that. Space tourism, there's going to be all kinds of things. And you'll pay a premium for people. So anybody who wants to work will make even more money because they work. So, and then people will still want passions. They'll want to discover new technology. They'll want to be like the person who gets the prize for the thing. You'll still have that. There'll be people that do even better. There will be people that own islands and all this other stuff, right? Things that we can't make any more of, like land will continue to go up in value because people will be able to own larger amounts of it. Much larger. All right, so we did get one, ABCL. Yes, I can look at ABCL. We'll start there on the list. That is a request from Joe Barassus. So let me just update this SMCI. I'm glad, hopefully nobody here. I wasn't really interested in SMCI. I said it had to climb back up and get above this fib before it dropped down because it was in a bear flag. So I hope nobody got hurt too bad from that. And if you did, I'm sorry to hear it, man. All right, ABCL. But sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. That's why with the miners, that's why with like Hut and even Mara for a period of time when there were these short reports, I did a decent amount of research before I even got remotely interested in them. ABCL, oof. This is just like the stock that keeps hurting people. You guys know how I feel about these, right? I hope you do. I hope you know how I feel about companies that aren't making anywhere close to a profit and continuing to bleed all the time. AMD's these nuts. All right, thanks for that, Joseph. Joseph is gonna go buy some AMD's nuts. That's good. Everybody's very excited about that. So net income negative 37 million on a quarter where the company made 7. Now I think they had better estimates. Yeah, so slightly increasing. So by the end of the year, maybe they'll make 13 million and then they'll probably lose 30. This is not a company you should be investing in. Massive stock dilution. They've got a lot of bonds, but that's just to help make some kind of income. Their operating expenses aren't becoming scalable. Their free cash flow is still negative 49 million with revenues that were 7 million. This is just a horrible company. I wouldn't own it. The only way I would be invested in this is something like ARKG, where the entire speculative sector could draw things higher in that, which gives you get a multitude for the options contract, like 10x or something, depending upon what you're buying. That's the only way I would touch this. Don't buy ABCL, guys. I mean, not financial advice, but I think it's a fucking stupid idea. All right, Tesla will go down in the stabling price. I don't know what you mean, Dario. I don't know what part of that conversation. Tesla's just going to keep going up, because they're printing people, right? Mucho says, conflict of interest much? I'm not sure, again, what that was. Read the book Chip Wars. That's actually a really great book. I like that one. Good call, Daisy. That's a good book. William H. Someone talking about BYD revenue beating Tesla's for the first time ever in China. Ignore it. It's all bullshit. Those people are stupid. So you know what they're doing? They're looking at it. So here's the thing: you can't trust the books of any Chinese company. A, and B, BYD is literally China's glory right now, right? China loves BYD because BYD is their most successful EV maker. It is their biggest car manufacturer, and they're giving massive subsidies because they want it to succeed. And they're dumping these BYD cars all over the world right now at very low prices, subsidized by the Chinese government. That play only works so long. They're nowhere near the profitability per vehicle. When you subtract out subsidies from the US, from China, all this stuff, Tesla is way beyond them. And you know what BYD isn't even trying to do? Autonomy. They're not comparable. It's insulting to compare those two. Darren Braken. Okay, we already know about SMCI. SMCI maybe has that Hindi issue hovering above it. Might not go up until these. I don't know whether it's going up at all, man. I don't like companies that create fraudulent books. But again, it looks really juicy in the $9 level. So you'd lose another 70%, and it's going to be maybe a good price. And it might not go down that low, but it's just going to get butchered. Who cares? Richie Ray, hey Jesse, I'm new here. Can you talk to us through different parts of the chart, please? Yeah, I can. If you ever have questions about a chart, let me know. I did a video you can find on YouTube called, well, you know what? I'll just find it for you. Give me a second. It's called Trading View 101 or something, but it kind of covers some basics of charting too. So probably a good one for you to look at. Let me just find it super fast. I'll link it and post it. That way you don't have to do all the digging for it. That's probably going to be easier for you. So I'll do that instead of, and then if you have other questions too, throw them out there, guys. Like I said, if you guys have questions about like charting or any of that stuff, I'm happy to talk about them. It's how to set up TradingView, but it's actually a little more than that. Let me just throw it in chat. There you go. You should see that, hopefully here. All right, so let me see here real quick. I moved this, so it's like way down the list now. I got to see where I was at. Going back to NDA, forgot to mention that James Invest Answers bought some yesterday. NDA, okay. And I know you said a bunch about that, but I don't remember what it was. So I'll pull up NDA real quick here, though. And James buying it makes it more interesting. I don't necessarily follow everything. Neptune Digital Assets. Oh yeah, this is a conglomerate of like a bunch of different things, right? What did you say they invest in? Is this one what all do they buy? Let me look at this site real quick. We'll just pull that up. Mining, staking, blockchain nodes, and DeFi. And you can see the impact that James from Invest Answers has on things, right? So you probably talked about this recently. This thing is up in a month 300%. Innovating digital assets. Are these holdings? I don't know. What do they do? Conduct blockchain research, allocate capital strategically, optimize and reinvest earnings, diversified cryptocurrency. So they buy stuff. So this is another like Solana staking and staking type play. Let's see, what are there? Interesting. I mean, I don't hate this kind of play. Why don't we have Q2? So they own a lot of bonds, 8.7 billion. Their free cash flow is negative. Their revenue was, I'm sorry, $500,000. What is this valued at? $110 million. Enterprise value 100. This might be interesting. I just need to understand it better. Maybe I'll watch a James video about it and see what I can find out. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like this is just a piddly ass amount of money, and it's not even like positive cash flow right now. But if they're finagling and buying in and out of assets, maybe they can do all right on that. What's the short interest in this bitch? It's got to be high. No, it's really low. Wow, this just is barely a company. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make out of this. I do respect James' research a lot, but it's also went up a lot in a short period of time. And Soul Strategies, how's Soul Strategies doing, actually? I haven't really looked at that one in a while. Should see what they're at. I don't know. I'll have to look that up later. What time is it? 8:30. Oh, we missed the bell, guys. Where were you on that? You were probably like, it's the bell. And then I didn't listen. Let me go back. We're going to hear the bell. We're going to hear it. Damn it. Oh, we'll go live, and then we'll go back. Listen to these guys talk about Supermicro. There we go. Oh, yeah, Reddit even did good. Up 27%. I don't know why people would buy Reddit.
Which is no drink. Right. How to cut back on drink. These are verticals you can't reach. And I don't want to be too specific, but what I'm trying to do anecdotally is explain empirically why this thing's exploding. This was a charity. I had some meetings with Huffman before this came public, and the meetings were not fun. Because I said, blah, 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 blah. I said, make money or die.
Real quickly, Lim Jing Young said, do you think Google doing well on cloud is good or bad sign for Microsoft and Amazon, the two biggest cloud competitors? I think they're all growing. I'm guessing that cloud is growing as a whole. Sell AMD and buy Tesla. I mean, yesterday that probably would have been good. I don't know. I don't love AMD. I would much rather be in Tesla for the long haul. Okay, Jesse, can you please review Sim and Duolingo?
Man.
DUOL. Yes, I can. I'll do that in a second.
Well, this guy chose to make money, and this is a money maker that is now going to be one of the. You're going to buy some ad that 8% of the people have Crohn's and 92 don't, or you can go to the Crohn's disease vertical. I mean, holy cow! This is the holy grail. If I were Meta, if I were Zuckerberg, who's jealous of no one, I may actually turn to the person next to me and say, "Wow, Humphrey's better than I thought. Highest compliment imaginable. Better than I thought."
So George said, thoughts on Mara and CleanSpark. I know miners sometimes lag, but seems odd they're down as BTC is launching. Yep, that's perfectly normal. Perfectly normal, guys. They don't run in conjunction with each other. They do it separately. Miners will do the best when people are most excited about Bitcoin and it's been launching a bunch. Because here's what happens with all investments, right? People start with the large caps, right? Large caps been running for years. Then when they make too much money off of those and they get bloated, you know what they do? They dial down the risk curve. Then they'll go into mid caps. Then they'll go into small caps. Then they'll be buying fucking anything that can give them a good return. Then they'll be pumping and dumping GameStop and Bed Bath and Beyond and a bunch of fucking dogs. Or cats. I think cats are actually becoming more popular this year. It's cat season. If we look over here, let's just switch out of favorites real quick. Go to the top 100. I think you're going to find a lot of cats. Yep, see, there's a pop cat. Got a cat over here. Not as many cats as I would have thought. It seems like the dogs have been coming back this week. And the frogs. Whatever. I digress. But, yeah, so you're going to see stuff like that, right? But like that, oh yeah, Mew. So we got a cat here. We got Pop Cat. So we got 2 cats at least. If you go to the monthly, you see more cats. But, again, you're going to see, you'll see people dial down the risk curve, and this hasn't even really happened yet. It's nice to see SoFi running today. Oh, is it? Is it getting a bounce? Let's go back. Now that we're actually live, let's do a look here, guys, and take a look and see how things are going. All right, so we got, Soul Strategy's down 24% today. So again, timing is very important on these things. Sometimes you can get excited about something and get destroyed. AMD down 10%. I don't even want to know what SMCI looks like. We're seeing MicroStrategy-related investments get hit. Cypher's down 4.84. Why aren't people asking about Cypher? Bitfarms is down 3.33. So you guys are asking about Mara and you're asking about CleanSpark, and the other miners are actually doing worse than them. So, again, it's just like this is all a part of the process. Google up 6%. SoFi up 4%. Nice bounce on SoFi. It doesn't surprise me that that's bouncing better than PayPal. They really did have a good quarter. So congrats to people on that. Flux is up 2.66. Say's up. Ethereum is still continuing to outperform over the short term. That's nice to see. Layer 2s on Ethereum are doing well too. TLT getting almost a 1% bounce in the day. That should get TMF almost a 3. Square is up 0.61. Nice to see. Microsoft doing all right. DLO, Meta up. DJT, Dow Jones Industrial. Dollar kind of flat. Tesla down 0.04. Not bad for Tesla. Where's PayPal on this list? Any love for the pay to the pal? Any love for the pay to the pal? Any love. Let's see here. Oh, don't you do that to me. You stupid. Oh, I hate that shit. Oh, you better stop that. It's like there's still some lingering session sometimes, and it will just do this thing where it just constantly disconnects for like a second, and then it'll start working again. Just annoys the crap out of me. Let's see. Tesla down 0.43%. Not too bad. I might actually buy a little Tessie today. But where's PayPal? Is PayPal continuing to drop? Down 1.8. Not too surprised. So they must not be doing their buybacks yet. They should start soon. Maybe I'll buy more PayPal. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'll probably get more PayPal depending upon how the options contract's doing today. Let me actually refresh. I probably can't see that. It's only 8:40. It's too early. It's too early to see it. But it's probably down. Let me see. I could probably go into the actual contract and see. So it says 895, but that I don't think that's right. I bought them yesterday around the 750s or something. Oh, it's 815 on the low end. So maybe 820 for bid and ask. Okay, so it's down, but it's still higher than what it was when I was buying yesterday. So that's not the end of the world. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of bored. Let me see here. Let me look at some of those tickers. SIM, and DUOL. Let me look at some of these. PayPal feels so clunky to use. It's just the mobile app needs to get better, but they're doing a lot better. They just need to they need to tidy up the mobile app more. But again, their earnings was actually good. It was a good earnings. Why am I over here? I don't want to be here. Outside of missing revenue expectations, I thought it was good, and I think their conservative guidance will end up paying off in the long term, so I'm still excited about them. All right, so SYM, I don't even know if I know what that is. Symbotic, is it a profitable company? No. So well, they got positive free cash flow. So free cash flow is $33 million out of revenues that were $491. So the forward PE is stupid high at 120. But revenues continue to grow. They say they're going to have positive EPS. EBIT still looks ugly. Institutional ownership growing. Short interest is declining. This could be something interesting in the future. What do they do? Shell companies. Industry shell companies. What the fuck is this company? Short interest. Did it say 38.49? What? 39% short interest on this thing. Why? Why? I mean, I don't like burning $13 million in net income in a quarter, but they made 491. There is a pro-growth thing here. Is investigating. Oh, Symbiotic alert. October 29th. Brager, Eagle, and Squire is investigating Symbiotic on behalf of long-term shareholders and encourages investors to contact the firm. I would not touch this. Unless you know that that's complete bullshit with like 100%. I wouldn't touch it. I don't like companies that are looking for class action lawsuits against them. Duolingo, on the other hand, looks pretty tidy. Look at that growth in revenue. Very well-run company. The only bad thing is, a little bit of selling, not a lot of insider buying. Short interest is non-existent. Institutional ownership continues to grow. Estimates look good. 91 forward PE. That's the only downside, but this is like a steady Eddie, man. They're still diluting shareholders. I don't know if I quite understand why. It's probably because they only have a few months of profitability with net income. But I like the way their cash flows are looking. This is just a really nice looking company. Daily active users are screaming higher. The TAM on this is probably still pretty good. I don't know, man. I like this one. I definitely like, it's a high forward PE. If their growth ever slows, you're just going to get jackhammered. So remember that. Bitcoin 71.5, not doing super great today. Let me hop over here real quick, though. We'll pull up Duolingo. I think I already have that one on here. I should probably add that to the channel. Let me get into the Discord here, too. So we're going to copy this. After we get done looking at this chart, we're gonna bring it over. So, wow, I haven't looked at this in a while. Let's do this. I'll say like here. So this goes to, so I'm drawing this on this like previous major low, too high, where we got really high, right? Really high. And then I'm drawing this back down to the low, which is obviously the short-term bottom, just to kind of see what the measured move here is. And we kind of completed the measure move. Now we're in kind of like Goldilocks zone, looking to run to 365. I might, gosh, this is tough. This is tough to draw. I think this is right, though. I think we can go up to 350, 360 as long as growth doesn't slow. BGZ would love a video on Fibonacci. Yeah, I can do that. I think I covered that a little bit in the TradingView video, but Fibonacci is great. That actually might be my first product too, guys. Might be my first product. Just throwing it out there. Let me add this one real quickly, though, to the Discord while I'm in here. I'm trying to get better at that when I do new ones, especially ones that are interesting to me. I don't think we have Duolingo in here. Let me just check. I should probably check. No, just DLO. Okay. All right. So we'll do this. DUOL. Duolingo. All right, so we got a channel in there. I need to actually probably like push it way up. All right, and then we'll go into it, and then we'll go. So we got the chart. I should probably actually say like DU. Yeah, I should. Let me go here. All right, let me do that. And then I'll pin it. And now you guys can talk about Duolingo and have the chart be up in the top under our little pin. All right, there we go. Jason Berber, all right, we already talked about that. SMCI, we did the Duolingo. Mucho says SMH getting pulled down as well. SMH. Do I know that one? Let me see here. DR Horton got hit too. I saw that. I'm kind of curious about that because a DR Horton is a builder. I'm curious how far down they get pulled down by these higher rates because that might be like an interesting time to buy them. SMH, oh, this is just the semiconductor ETF. I mean, yeah, this is going to get pulled down. I mean, the semiconductor market between SMCI and AMD earnings and everything just kind of taking a step back. I'd buy Nvidia, though. I mean, I wouldn't buy this other crap. What is Nvidia down today? What are we down on Nvidia? We're down 1.2%. If I was buying anything, it'd probably be that. I mean, again, maybe AMD if you have a lot of faith in it because it is at a key support zone. All right, let's keep going here. AMD can go 136 per some statistics. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like I'm not sure what statistics I should say. Martin Pillich, SMCI will go to single digits. They have terrible margins, integrator, and all hype, but shady accounting. I think you're right. They could. Again, I think $9, $8 turns into support, and they're in the 30s right now. What are these guys even at? Let me just check real quick. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'll buy. I do have like another $11,000, $12,000 in ARGT that I might move over. This thing's down, it's still 30%. I wouldn't be buying it here. I think people are crazy to buy it here. When you've got a company that literally has lost their primary auditor, there's some dips you don't buy. Dell is up 7% in pre-market. Did they have their earnings already? Let's check that out. Do I have Dell on my list? I should probably add that too. Get that in the channel. I mean, this looks good. It looks like they're trying to test back up to the 155 range. 4.4%. They got a dividend. Even though Michael Dell's been selling a lot. I think he's buying Bitcoin. Oh, it's an SMCI competitor. That makes sense. Then you could probably see this do pretty good. That makes sense, though, on why that would go up. Probably will. I will go ahead and add this one. Just for the heck of it. Can't type. All right. We'll get them in there too. Get rid of this embed. I wish I could just force those out. Again, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. My wife's been talking to him, but just an amazing person in Discord. Are you in here? Are you in chat right now? I'll try and find you real quick. Just to thank you for your help. Because you're a badass. Let me see here. Happy to be of service. Is that you? Really, YouTube will also join. Oh, no, that's a different person. Let me see. I'm trying to find this person. I really want to thank them for their effort. I need to. Matthew Smith. Is that you? Yes. Thank you. I'm actually going to move you up to my pinned tweets. Thank you for your help with Discord and helping our understanding of what we need to do for changes. I appreciate you very, very much. And I'll try and get to that today. I know you were hoping to have us take a look today and look at your previous Discords that you were running. So I really appreciate you, man. Check ENVX, says Chad, who gave a $2 tip. That'll probably be one of the last ones I look at here. at least for today, but I will take a look. I do think I've already looked at this, though. It sounds familiar. Is this one that makes money, or I can't remember. They lose money. They've got horrible free cash flow. Negative 50 million in a quarter where they made 4. That's more than a 10-to-1. It's a bad number. Their revenues are still kind of flat. They're still planning on losing money. Fremont, California, electrical equipments and parts. Their cash is burning down. They're diluting shareholder value. This isn't the kind of thing I dig, man. Sorry, I know you gave $2. I'm sorry to shit on your thing, but I don't like the way this looks. Audric Trudeau said, "Eesh, should have been patient with Sol Strategies. At what price would you start being interested?" I don't even know how do I know what the NAV is on it? I've tried to look for that, and I haven't found it. And I haven't looked at James' work. I probably need to do that since he's buying other stuff, too, that people are asking about. I should probably be educated on it so I can shit on it or like it. But yeah, SoFi up 5% on the day. Yeah, congrats, guys. That's really awesome. Yeah, so I don't know if I like Innovix. Probably not one I'm going to add to the list because I don't like companies that aren't making money and that are burning 10 times as much as they're 11 times more than they're making in revenue. I can't get excited about that. All right, guys, I think I'm done. This is going to be an early one. We're finishing at 9, so a 2-hour morning stream. I think we've accomplished a lot, and I really appreciate you guys. Again, I think we'll see how the day ends up being. Let's just look here real quick at the watch list one last time to see how things are going. So Sol Strategies sucking, AMD sucking, MSTU sucking, MSCI sucking. I might actually be interested in, let's look at MicroStrategy real quick. Let's look at Bitcoin and see if it's finding support. We always want to look at the underlying. So I would argue, here's what I will argue today on Bitcoin. I'll argue that it's trying to find support on the previous amounts over here. So look right here, support, 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 support. This is support too, but it's a little bit into it. I will argue that it's trying to find support now, and I think it's going to do that. Now, it could trend down in the weeks ahead. That's very possible, but man, let's just look at MSTR and see how that's doing today. So pretty 4% down, pretty big beat down on MSTR. What is the actual multiplier though? 2.77, getting better. Maybe not the perfect price, but I don't know. We'll see how things play out. I might just go ahead. Instead of nickel and diming it, I mean, I could do that. But instead of nickel and diming it, I think I'm just going to buy MSTU with that 10,000 freed bucks that I got from Robinhood for my IRA transfer. I think I'm just going to buy MSTU today. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'll post it when I do. Thank you guys very much. And again, I don't know. Should we shit on Gary today? What should we do today? Buy the dip? Robots are taking over? I don't know. There's so many things. Let's see here. All-time high. Seems a little premature. Oh, you know what? It's a buy the dip day. We'll do that. I love you guys. I'll see you at 2:30 when we start our stream to get ready for Hood earnings, which should be spectacular. In fact, I'll be surprised if they're not. I love you guys. Talk to you later. In the meantime, buy that dip because that's what I'm getting ready to do. Peace out. Bye.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. People love the pump. Yeah. Got them lining up. Wow. See us winning, FOMO in and YOLO by the top. Dream of Lamborghini. Girlfriend in bikini. Front covered Forbes magazines where you'll see me. Oh, what? How? Price went down. Who will save us now? Felt like a hero. Now the fear is here and it's clear as steering to zero. Yeah. Hands weak, bags heavy, and I'm ready to forget about already all the hopes and the dreams. So puke your position like mom spaghetti. I'm hungry and got long cash on and ready to just buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying. Yeah. When they tell you their investment conviction is dying. Oh no. But the market's dead. Yeah. That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up. Guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend through the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip.